Redesign gives our district a chance to change our schools so that students have the opportunity to learn in whatever way and whatever subjects benefit them the most. We asked Mr. Lane, the college composition and college speech teacher at the high school, about his views on redesign.
Well, from the very start, my apprehension was based on the fact that no one can truly define it, which is kind of a catch-22 situation. It's a good thing because it allows you the flexibility to come up with your own definition based on why you think we need this, and then come up with your own solutions, try them, see how that works, as opposed to getting something forced down your throat.
Mrs. Ware, a math teacher, also shared her views on redesign.
About letting anyone go unhelped or unchallenged.
That is the million-dollar question. If we can answer that, then yeah, that's the question all the time. If you only address the needs of the top students, then the other students are lost and frustrated. And if you only address the needs of the lower students, then the top students are bored. So we as teachers have to try to hit all of that, and that is what's difficult every single day. That's what we talk about every day. What can we do? And that can be as large as a district, we can offer different classes. It can be as small as within one classroom in 1 hour, what do I do with the kid that gets done with their homework early and understands? So you can look at a small piece of education or a very large piece and try to address the needs of everybody.
We believe that redesign may be the answer to that million-dollar question. We believe that personalized learning plans, schedule changes, choice of learning style or method of learning delivery, and technology will help to redesign our schools and benefit our students.
One teaching strategy our school can employ is PBL. The abbreviation PBL can refer to project-based learning or problem-based learning. Although they are similar, there are some important differences. According to the University of Illinois article, Problem-Based Learning, the definition of problem-based learning is a teaching method in which complex real-world problems are used as a vehicle to promote student learning of concepts and principles as opposed to direct presentation of facts and concepts. The Interdisciplinary Journal of Problem-Based Learning has an article titled Getting Started with PBL, a Reflection. The authors Mueller and Henning write, according to Newman, there are at least 4 characteristic elements in organizing a PBL learning environment. 1. Learning and teaching practices are organized around problems, with a problematic case as the starting point for any further learning. 2. Such a case will be discussed and analyzed by a small group of students. 3. To stimulate self-regulated learning as an important element in the working process, the students are responsible for themselves and a tutor only facilitates during sessions. And 4. Finally, there needs to be an appropriate assessment. Project-based learning, on the other hand, emphasizes learning by doing, but as the Fordham Institute recognizes, doing must be based on knowing.
And this is something that I found out 29 years ago when I started out with 143 freshmen in the class. And that is that not everybody learns the same, not everybody learns at the same rate. Everybody can learn, but they can't learn the same amount or at the same level.
The University of Illinois asserts that PBL can promote the development of critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and communication skills. It can also provide opportunities for working in groups, finding and evaluating research materials, and lifelong learning. Dr. Vicki Sherbert, a secondary literacy professor at Kansas State University, also discussed lifelong learning in an interview. So I think the lifetime implications of that are huge, because if students are fed a steady diet of this is what you have to learn, this is what you have to read, this is what you have to write, when they get out of school they may just be so excited not to have to do this stuff, and that's why they associate learning with being made to do it. But if they associate learning with their own interests or own curiosity, their own passions, then when they graduate, they're going to continue to pursue that. You know, we've heard the term lifelong learners. We want all of our students to be lifelong learners. Well, this is how we help them become that, by fostering that curiosity and honoring their choice and honoring their own interests and passions. Students who learn through PBL will not know names and dates, but they will remember concepts. Roisin Donnelly and Marion Fitzmaurice, part of the Dublin Institute of Technology, wrote, "It could be argued that the skill of 21st century graduates will be to articulate the right questions and to understand where and how they can search for knowledge, not remember the answers. In our current age, nearly any information can be made available with a few keystrokes. This illustrates Donnelly and Fitzmaurice's point that there is no question that students will have access to the information they need, but in order to obtain it, they first need to know what information they must find and what questions they must ask to find it."
There is evidence backing up the effectiveness of both project-based and problem-based learning. Studies have shown that PBL does help students, both young and old, learn. In a study summarized by Nell K. Duke and Annalise Halverson, second grade students were given an assessment at the beginning and end of the year, with 80 social studies lessons in between. The two groups being compared were the experimental PBL group and the control group. Duke and Halverson recorded that our analysis found statistically significant differences overall favoring the PBL group over the control group in social studies, effective size 0.482, and informational reading, effective size 0.181. In the PBL group, gains were 63% higher for social studies and 23% higher for informational reading than in the control group. In informational writing, differences between the groups were not statistically significant. A group of people from the Iranian Red Crescent Medical Journal performed an experiment on medical students that compared problem-based learning with lecture-based learning. To create the most accurate study possible, the authors explained one of the topics was presented as LBL for the first group and as PBL for the second group. The other topic was presented as PBL for the first group and LBL for the second group. They found that the median score of the exam was higher in the intervention group compared to the control group for both topics. However, the difference was not statistically significant. Students preferred problem-based learning over lecture-based learning because of motivation boosts, a higher quality of education, knowledge retention, class attentiveness, and practical use. Even in our own school, students have challenged themselves when given the opportunity.
I believe that is totally true. I see that a lot in our shop classes where kids want to be out there, and as a result, they're pretty self-driven and self-motivated to get things done. For example, I have about 3 welding 2 students who have flown through their skill sheet because they wanted to start bringing in their projects and getting to work on stuff that they really enjoyed. But I also can see where students, especially in agriculture, are taking some of classes between Miss Tun and I, and they're able to specialize in their interests, whether that's animals, plants, or maybe doing something in the shop.
We believe that PBL has proven itself worthy enough to be given a chance.
In reference to redesign, Vicki Sherbert said, "It's going to be challenging for teachers and students, but I also think it's going to be incredibly rewarding."
Redesign will also be a challenge for the administration. To get that point of view, we interviewed Superintendent Mike Folks.
It has to be a teacher-driven process. They're the closest to the students. They're doing it with fidelity, and they're going to get it done. I have full faith in them, and I know they're working extremely hard and putting lots of time in and taking it very seriously. How are we going to pull this off with no additional money? Now, you can't say that the school district doesn't have money when you have about a $12 million budget between our local option budget and our general fund. About 85% of that goes for staff salaries and insurance. And so what we have said is we might have to move things around. Part of the redesign process is, providing the best educational opportunities so students gain skills, all students, not just students that are going to go to a 4-year school, those that are going to go into the military and go to a VOTEC school or a trade school. I think we have the autonomy, I know we have the autonomy locally to change our policy, to move things around, to meet those graduation requirements. Who's to say that you can't take a class and instead of just getting 1 credit, maybe you can get 2 or 3 credits within that one class if that's what's recommended with the redesign process. So I feel really good about, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I feel really good about we're going to do what's right, change policy to make that work. Going to college and those credits, the colleges, they're behind the Kansas redesign process. That's going to be a little more tricky, a little more complex, but we got to do what's right for our students, and we'll make that work. Well, I'm excited about the redesign process and the work that's being done. I have said for years that the industrialized model of education, which I think we do a really good job under that system of the industrialized model of education. I typically use this analogy. Time has been the constant and learning has been the variable, and we need to change those, where learning is the constant and time is the variable.
2 of the most impactful changes redesign could bring are the use of technology, which our district already incorporates a lot of, and flexibility of schedule. One of the roles of technology will be to deliver the problem to the student. The University of Illinois explained the method for distributing a PBL problem falls under 3 closely related teaching techniques: case studies, role plays, and simulations. Case studies are presented to students in written form. Role plays have students improvise scenes based on character descriptions given. Today, simulations often involve computer-based programs. Scheduling is another obstacle that will have to be overcome during redesign. Redesign will probably increase the number of scheduling conflicts, but Mr. Moran hopes to be able to solve this problem in creative ways.
It is one of those things that's going to be a challenge. It's something that I look forward to. I think if we can find ways to offer more opportunities or even some different opportunities, it could definitely affect our schedule. And it's one of those things that Mrs. Lee and myself and some other teachers and administrators have talked about in terms of the challenges that will create. But I think we're all open to any possibility. We look forward to looking at what that could do to our schedule and being creative with that and being flexible.
Another change that may be coming is the addition of mixed-age classrooms.
I think there's definitely a place for mixed-age classrooms. I think it's a way to allow students to work together, but also bring in different experiences based off of the level of their education. It lends itself to some peer tutoring that we could do. So I think it definitely has a lot of bonuses to it. It would be something in terms of actually implementing it that we would have to look into and see, what's the best way to get that to work. We do have some mixed age classes in primarily our elective type courses right now. Most of our core classes are pretty set based off of the grade level, but even that is something that we've looked into as possibly having the ability to be flexible in that as well.
Creative uses of technology and scheduling will be vital to the success of redesign.
Redesign presents a considerable leap of faith for our school and our district, but it has a chance to help our students receive a more focused education and develop more skills that will benefit them in their future careers. We're not yet certain what our redesigned schools will look like, but we are certain that there is a team of people working hard to ensure that those who graduate from them succeed. With the assistance of researchers, experts, and the USD 379 faculty, we believe that we have proven in this video the importance, effectiveness, and practicality of redesign.